Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, it is going to be from a subscriber of mine. He just sent me an email. His name is Terry Russ 112004. Shout out to Terry Russ 112004. I'm doing this video for you, and we're going to get more into this road rage case of Joe McKnight. He played for the New York Jets, wore number 25, and what I'm looking at with this case is there's a parallel case that happened May 4th, 2013 down in New Orleans, Louisiana, and the case goes like this. It was a road rage case where you had a 75-year-old, I call him a grandfather. His name was Roger Baptiste. Now, Roger Baptiste had an altercation with a 22-year-old Shane McNair. Here's what happened on that day. McNair got out of his car, walked up to Baptiste's truck, and started calling him names. And it got racial. So, Baptiste, for self-defense, shot McNair. Now, in New Orleans, they do have a stand your ground law, and that is protection of yourself. Or, let's say, utilizing self-defense. Now, the law came on the books down there in 2006. Now, here is my opinion. Looking at the Joe McKnight case, I'm trying to find out why this 54-year-old gentleman by the name of Ronald is now behind bars. Now, in 2015, last year, 75-year-old Roger Baptiste, he's got 5 years in jail for defending himself. The gentleman actually walked up to his car and started calling him names, especially racial names. But I'm getting different variations of the story from the Joe McKnight incident. But even though the stories vary, this gentleman shot and killed Mr. Joe McKnight. Now, he actually shot Joe McKnight from his car. That's one variation. The other variation I got was he shot Joe McKnight, then he got out of his car and stood over Joe McKnight and shot him while he was on the ground. Even though the stories seem conflicting, the parallel is the black gentleman who was a grandfather defended himself, but he's behind bars. The problem is the judicial system is not fair. Bottom line. I'm defending myself against a white man who probably instigated the case. I mean, you're going to come up to me in my car. I don't know if you have a gun, but I tell you what, I'm going to pull mine out before you even think about pulling yours out. But with these paralleling cases, I'm scratching my head. Why is Ronald running free? Now they charged Mr. Baptiste, the 75-year-old, with second-degree murder. I mean, 5 years is a long time for a 75-year-old man who actually utilized the stand your ground laws, just like they said George Zimmerman did in Florida. I just look at this case and sadness. And as a black man, no matter what we do, the law is always against us. And down in New Orleans, Louisiana, there's a lot of white supremacists down there. So my opinion with this case is Ronald Gasser was wrong. But Baptiste was right for protecting himself. There's no way around it. I don't believe Mr. McKnight got out of his car, ran up to Ronald Gasser. Now they're saying Ronald Gasser's story was self-defense. But looking at it, how could it be self-defense when you have Joe McKnight in his car, Ronald Gasser in his car? Now Joe McKnight was trying to apologize to Ronald Gasser. I do believe that because I know I've been on the road and I've accidentally cut somebody off. Nothing happened. But what I can tell you, when you are driving today, you have to be careful. And first of all, I got to ask this question. What was this Ronald Gasser doing with a gun in his car anyway? Was the gun registered? I don't know. And the reason why this case is so sketchy is, why would this guy charge? Who's the judge down there in Louisiana? But you actually had a black man, 75 years old, who was charged. In fact, he doesn't get out of jail until 2020 for 5 years for defending himself. So you're going to tell me when a black man kills a white man in self-defense, he must serve time? I hope you folks down there in Louisiana get together, you storm the courthouse for Mr. Joe McKnight. Do it without the NDoubleACP, because I want to tell you all about the NDoubleACP now. It is not a black organization. It was an organization started by Jews with one black man named W.E.B. Du Bois. What you black folk have to do down in Louisiana, you must go down to the courthouse, you must find the judge, and you must have Mr. Ronald Gasser charged and sentenced. If you don't, you need to go down and find out why the police didn't charge this guy. I believe that this is racism at its finest. That is my opinion on it, and I'm going to stick by that. And I did a video about 2 months ago, brothers. You got to be vigilant when you're out there driving. We got to be vigilant everywhere we go. And this is just unfair justice. That's what I am saying right now. Looking at the article, they're basically the same type of cases. But according to one story, justice was done against this black man for defending himself. But there's an excuse why this white man named Ronald Gasser hasn't been charged. I want somebody from New Orleans, a law enforcement official, a court judge, to explain to the nation while Ronald Gasser is in charge. I mean, he walked out free for shooting someone dead over a road rage incident. So I'm looking at it right now. You got police shooting unarmed black men. You got civilians shooting unarmed black men. What else is next? But then you flip the script. You got a black man who's my father's age. He's probably fearing for his life. He gets some 22-year-old kid, approaches him while he was in his own vehicle. This is like somebody coming up to my house trying to rob me. But I can't utilize any self-defense? Nah. This is just unfair justice, and it needs to be dealt with. This isn't Rodney King. This isn't Freddie Gray. This isn't any of those guys. This was an innocent man minding his own business. And this young kid, Shane McNair, walks up to him and initiates the conflict. And I want to ask this other question. Where's the media? Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson? Where's Van Jones? Somebody tell me. Crickets. That's what it is. Nobody cares about the black man, even when we're in the right. You get an ex-football player who was shot to death by a white man. Where's the outrage on that case? The big guns, the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons. Yes, you do have the New Orleans chapter of the NDoubleACP. They're looking into it. You got to do more than look into it. You got to force some action. It's enough talking, black folk. We got to start standing for something. Because I guarantee, if it had been a white man who'd gotten shot, which this Shane McNair got shot, white folk were all over that. This black man is in jail till 2020. And he's going to serve all 5 years. So looking at both cases, it was basically a black man defending himself, a white man who actually shot an unarmed black man. And I still don't know the details of what happened to Joe McKnight. Again, the story is sketchy. You get some that say he was shot while he was in his car. And then other stories say he got out of his car, he was shot 2 times, he fell to the ground, he was shot again. But regardless of what the stories are, you have a black man, a young black man, who's shot dead. Accuser, we already know who he is not charged. Whereas you have a black man who was defending himself from a punk kid call him some racially motivated names that will probably get any black man ready to go to war. He defends himself and he goes to jail. My opinion, the black man was served injustice for defending himself. You can go ahead and check the article out. The article is www.NOLA.com, which stands for New Orleans, Louisiana, and type up the Roger Baptiste case in 2013. You can see that it does parallel the Joe McKnight case. But you had black man on one side of the coin and a white man on the other side of the coin. White man, again, he's walking free. Black man's in jail. And he may die in jail. When everybody down there in New Orleans get together, help get this black man out of jail, put this white boy, put him in jail. He needs to serve his time. And if he doesn't, have the judge impeach, go in there, start demanding the police officers, find a police officer who didn't charge Mr. Gasser, fire him. You must serve the harshest crime, Mr. Gasser, and the police officer and the judge, that you did to Mr. Baptiste. Bottom line, on my opinion, it's another injustice against an African American man who was defending himself. And that's this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone radio show so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Also, you can catch us on Blog Talk Radio. On Blog Talk Radio every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. Now on this channel, for the most part, I don't do controversial issues. This one was more or less a news story, but I wanted to utilize this time to get back to my subscriber, Mr. Terry Russ, 112004. Thank you for that information. Because on this channel, news is depressing, but we have to deliver it from a fair and balanced perspective. But we want to keep everything in an educational format because knowledge is power. If you have a business or topic also that you would like for me to discuss on Blog Talk Radio or YouTube, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Also like comments. Make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating, if you wish to opine. Now, something else that I've started doing is, particularly for the black sector of YouTube, we must support each other regardless of what types of content that you are delivering. So there are links under all of my YouTube videos of other brothers' channels like Angry Man, Brother Matt Coley, Ringo TV Raw, Sean DeLay, Obsidian, Reluctant Nobby, Ron Wills. The list goes on, and I'll be adding more names as soon as I find the individuals that I believe have quality content to provide, and even some of your sisters, like True World Family, Miss Mitchell, Radical Home Goddess. There's some other ones that I'm subscribed to. Check their channels out. But at the end of the day, with this new story, injustice against another black man. Just remember that. Brothers, be vigilant. Start understanding the law. Because you just heard the proof in the pudding right here. Till next time. My name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful with each other. Have a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night.